let's see. We started going together, I think, in 46. In 48, I got my engagement. In 50, we were married. So, but anyway, he would have stayed at it. I mean, being an architect, and I wished he would have, because he was good at it.
Mm.
But this guy wasn't very nice to him, and so he quit.
What was his name?
Louis Greenstein,
Yeah.
and he was not a nice person.
And then what did Uncle Don
So
do?
Uncle Don went to Wickwire Steel and worked there, and then they were drafting everybody for the Korean War. So he decided, well, he might just as well enlist, because then he could go where he wanted, and he actually wanted to go in the Air Force. And they said he was too tall. So anyway, that's how he went in the Navy.
And he wasn't too tall for a ship?
No, and yet he was down in the engine room.
Really?
So he was in the Navy 4 years.
And that was before you met him?
No. Oh, no, we were going. Oh, I knew him since I was 13 years old.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, we met in Walter League, going from one church to the other. We used to all the churches got together. We'd have a hay ride. We'd have a sleigh ride. He saved me from being left out on George Urban Boulevard in a snow pile, because somebody threw me off, and he got off and put me back onto the sleigh.
So he knew you since you were 13, but were you in love then, or was it much later when you were older?
Oh yeah. So then, when we were both in high school, our last year of high school, we went to Loblaws, had a picnic. He worked at a store on Jefferson, and I don't know where Grandpa Fole worked at that time. One of the other stores. Oh, out Main Street. That's right. And I worked at 817 Abbott Road. And so they had a whole company picnic at Chestnut Ridge every year. So they closed the store on Wednesday afternoon, and that's when they had the picnic. So anyway, I went to the picnic, and all of a sudden, I see Don Fole. I said, "What are you doing here?" He says, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "Well, I work part-time for Loblaws while I'm going to school." He says, "So do I." And he says, "And so does my father." So anyway, that was, so then there was nothing yet, we just were friends, seeing each other at Walter League or whatever. So then we had our young peoples all got together and went to Camp Pioneer on a Sunday afternoon for a picnic.
That was out on Erie, right?
Right, on Lake Erie, yeah. And, it's beautiful.
I
now.
remember going there when we were
Yeah.
kids.
It was lovely. And you should see the improvements they've done. It's
Really?
beautiful. If we had time, we could take a ride there. But anyway, so our Jewel Engelbert drove and took a whole group of us out in her father's car. But she had to go home early for some reason or other. So she asked Don if he had any room in his car, if he could take a couple of our kids home. And he saw me, and he says, "How are you getting home?" I said, "Well, I came with Jewel, but I know she's got to go early, so we have to find rides home." He said, "I'll take you home." So that was the start of it.
What do you mean? What happened in the car?
Well, so anyway, I'm sitting in the middle, he's driving, and Earl Suko's sitting alongside of me, and Earl's trying to make out with me.
Oh!
And
Aunt Gloria!
Yes, and so the next night he calls. Oh, your grandfather says to him.
My grandfather
Your
or
grandfather.
my uncle?
No, your grandfather.
Okay.
Your Grandpa Fole.
Okay.
So anyway, Grandpa Fole comes home from work, and he says to Don, "I found this comb in the front seat of the car." And he says, "Did you have some girl in?" And he says, "Well, yeah, we took some kids home from Salem because Jewel Engelbert had to leave early, and she needed a ride for some of her kids." He says, "Oh, I think I know whose comb it is." So he calls me up on the telephone, and he says, "Did you lose the comb?" And I said, "Gee, I don't know. Maybe I really didn't, notice or look, So anyway, then our first date was to a concert at the Albright Knox Art Gallery, and we heard "Smoke Gets in Your Eyes" by Hoagie Carmichael. So that was our favorite song.
Did you have that at your wedding? Was that your song at the wedding? No?
I can't. Yeah. Oh, I think we did.
Did you?
We did, yeah. Yeah.
And then how long did you date before you got
4
married?
years.
Really? Why so long? Because he was in the
Oh,
service,
well,
or
yeah, and we were too young.
how old were you?
Well,
As a senior.
I was a senior in high school when I first started dating. No, yeah, when I first started dating, yeah, with dating him I was a senior in high school.
How did he ask you to marry him?
Oh, we went to Leonardo's restaurant, which was a real cute little supper club back years ago on Pearl Street, and that's where he asked me. That's where he gave me the ring, and he had asked my father if he could marry me, and so anyway, that was before we went to dinner. He was, and so anyway, then my father says to me, "And young lady, don't you ever put your husband in debt." And you know, I never forgot that. And I've always managed the money in the house. He wanted no part of that, and I never went in debt if I knew I couldn't pay for it. I would have never run up a bill or anything like some of these people do. I couldn't stand to have bills like that. So that was that's how we started out. So. And then,
And
of
then
course,
what year was that?
That was in '46, and then I think that was the same year your grandpa had his first heart attack, because he was 45 years old, I think, when he had the heart attack. Yeah. So.
Did he have a lot of stress?
Grandpa Full, oh yeah, running. They would open all these new stores. They moved about 13 different times in 12 years or so.
Really?
Yeah, because every time Loblaws would open a new store, they would send Grandpa Full to a new place to live. They lived in Newark. They lived in, I can't even remember. Grandpa knew all the places. We went to visit. One summer we took a ride and we went, and he knew who lived here and who lived there. He remembered everything. Your Uncle Don had the most fabulous mind, and history. You ask him anything, he could give you anything. I hated him because he could remember everything. Well, Paul and Beth are the same way. You ask her anything, and she knows. I worked these crossword puzzles, and of course Uncle Don, he worked them in 5-10 minutes, and that was it. He had them. Me, it takes me 2 or 3 days, and I don't even get them right. But when I really get to, I say, Beth, such and such. She knows.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's like her father, doesn't forget. And dates and people. You ask her anybody's stats, and she knows them, whether it's baseball or football or hockey. She remembers all that stuff. She's like a walking encyclopedia, like her father. And Paul is the same way. He has a wonderful mind. They just remember everything. Mine, I remember the important things. Like I said, I'll take care of the books. I know how to do that.
You made sure you had red wine when I got here, too.
Yes. And there we sit. There we have it sit. Here we are.
Well, we can't drink it on the white carpet.
Oh, well, I think we're old enough.
I don't know.
Well, that's all right. You take club soda if you get it.
Really?
If you ever get red wine on anything, just take club soda out of it, and pour it on it.
I get red wine on
And
everything.
then sop it up. Try it and see if it'll do. And take it out for you.
That's a hint from Gloria.
Yeah.